Dr. Fauci is wrong a lot. And he has been wrong for the past year. He speaks out of both sides of his mouth. You can never trust this guy to actually tell you what's really true. It's always whatever's going to make the left and the Democrats happy with him. Somehow, he's never upset the left. You ever notice that? The lockdowners have never been mad at this guy, not once. He gives them exactly what they want all the time. Might as well be on the payroll at MSNBC. Well, people like me have been telling you for a long time that outdoor masking, there's some data on this. There have been some studies done, some pretty broad studies that look at real-world transmission of COVID-19, all right? And what they find is that it's very hard, close to impossible, to find any substantial transmission of COVID-19. Now, anything's possible in epidemiology. I mean, someone could do this and then that, and then something flies through the air. And I mean, no one's saying that there's a 0% chance. But do we worry about a 1 in 10,000 or a 1 in 50,000 chance? Is that how we live our lives? I certainly hope not. But if you listen to Dr. Fauci, that is exactly how you would live your life. That's exactly what you'd be doing. People in major cities, I was just in Austin last weekend, masks outside on plenty of folks. In New York City right now, nice, pretty warm day here, masks on people. You got outdoor mask wearing by law in places like Michigan, and it's kind of the law in New York, other places as well. Where's the data on this? They don't have any data to support this. And in fact, Fauci himself has finally come out to say, we might have to adjust this a little bit. Here's what he told us.
Jim, I don't want to come out ahead of a CDC announcement, but as you hinted yourself just now a moment ago, that very soon, imminently in the next few days, very likely, the CDC will be coming out with updating their guidelines of what people who are vaccinated can do, and even some who are not vaccinated. And certainly what one can do outdoors vis-a-vis masks is going to be one of those recommendations. So stay tuned, it's coming soon. You're going to be seeing people wanting to do things outdoors without masks, and it's common sense to know that the risk when you are outdoors, which we have been saying all along, is extremely low. And if you are vaccinated, it's even lower. So you're going to be hearing about those kinds of recommendations soon.
Notice how they always talk about this. It's very Orwellian, recommendations. But we all know the recommendations that the Fauciites give become law. That Democrat governors in particular say, okay, well, that's what they said. Now it's the law, executive order. So it's not just a recommendation, never has been. That's always been disingenuous from these little lab coat tyrants. But it's very low. It was very low before we had vaccines. Now you're going to tell vaccinated people that they even need to think about this outdoors? That's insane. And finally, the grip of these little tyrants is going to have to come off our faces outdoors. I'd like to see it come off at indoors too. But then there's another real-world problem that they're dealing with here as we are trying to get to reopen. One of them is that we've been told by the corporate media and by the Democrat Party that the reason we've had such a tough time with COVID in this country is Donald Trump. You know that. That was the story. That was what they were pretending was behind all this. Now, that's absurd, but it is what they said, and they convinced a whole lot of people of that. And that our inability to defeat COVID, like, a tiny island nation with very few people per square mile in the middle of the Pacific Ocean like New Zealand that did hard, full-on lockdowns, which we never did, that why couldn't we be like them, the idiots would say. Well, there are a lot of countries, not just Western European countries, Brazil, there are countries all over the world that have had a terrible time with COVID, and one of them is India. What's interesting about the case of India is that right now they're saying that some hospitals are running out of oxygen. They have a lack of capacity to treat patients. They have mass grave situations because so many people are dying. In December of 2020, the Wall Street Journal reported on what Indian health experts were saying, health experts in the state of India, that it was consuming India until nearly everyone started wearing masks. The storyline was that masks saved India from COVID. That's what the health authorities in India were telling everybody. And here's a Wall Street Journal quote from December of 2020. India was reporting almost 100,000 COVID cases a day, with many predicting it would soon pass the U.S. in overall cases. Instead, its infections dropped. One of the main reasons Indian health officials say is the country encouraged and enforced almost universal acceptance of masks. Everybody masked up, they saved themselves. That was the storyline. The problem is right now India is in the worst place it's ever been with COVID. It has 300,000 cases a day, and it's dramatically undercounting its cases and deaths in the first place. It is the global hotspot for COVID. What happened? I thought in December they saved themselves with the mask wearing. Don't ask these questions. Listen to Fauci.